My name is Emmy Luvaga, and I'm originally from Kenya, but I'm here in Iowa at Iowa State University, teaching in the Department of Economics, and I love spending Saturday mornings with you. So this is usually my highlight of the 2 weeks, and I am with the Kiminini Women Group in Western Kenya, and I'm also part of the VIP, the Ventilated Improved pit latrines projects with Chris, Jeff, and Imali, and a few other people. But I also have an organization called Luvaga Foundation, where we've done quite a few things, including giving scholarships to girls in my village, and I built a library for my village. And now I'm thinking of other projects also in that village. So I don't I'm not slowing down. So this is fun for me. And the other thing I just want to point out today is Africa, the TCP Global is really growing in Africa. We've increased by almost 200%. That's where the growth is occurring. Although the program actually started in Colombia. Is that true, Jeff and Chris? I meant to say Chris, say Jeff. So it started in Colombia, but now Africa is literally taking over. So congratulations to all of you. So when I hear of the good things happening, particularly in Uganda, it seems that's where all the activity is. We all, Edward and Imali, you need to start getting busy here. Otherwise, Uganda is taking over. And we'd like to see more growth. And I was happy to hear there is expansion into Senegal and other places. So with that, I am excited to introduce Emmy, who is going to present today, share with us what he's doing. And then at the end, we'll be able to ask some questions and offer feedback. And he may have questions for us too, I don't know. So Emmy, did you have a presentation you'd like to share? And Chris has it. Okay, so why don't you take over then?
Yep. Thank you so much, Abby and everyone. Chris, I'm not sure whether you can give me the privilege to share my screen so that at least I can be able to have this done.
You and Abby are co-hosts. That means you can both share your screens.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you so much, Abby. You talked about the community library. We also built just recently the community library. So I need to learn a lot from you so we can be able to catch up with what we can do here. So my presentation is just coming on the screen shortly. I believe that we are able to see something on the screen.
Yes, we see it.
Yeah. Yep. So basically, like I mentioned earlier, my name is Emmy Zoomlamai Okello. I am the director at FICH. FICH is Foundation for Inclusive Community Help that you have seen from the screen. And my presentation will go a little faster so that we can catch up with the time. I can see the time has really moved fast. And what you see on the screen is my agenda. It looks many, but it's not so much. I'll spend a few minutes to explain certain things on them. So that is the agenda item that I will be going through. So just to begin, on the screen, you can see the woman. This is the typical woman that FICH work with from the rural community. And if you see from the screen, from the presentation, you'll see a woman who's really very smiling and with a baby behind as well. So this is the typical women that FICH work with, and they're based in rural communities. We wanted to ensure that we give privilege to that woman in the local community and have less privilege to access funds to operate the business, but yet they have a lot of responsibilities to do at home. So quickly, I just wanted to run through the Northern Uganda, where we're coming from. Northern Uganda, first of all, is very dry at this time. There's a season which is very dry and has a flat land and very dusty. So for those one who probably visit Uganda at this time, it's a little bit dusty, especially in northern region. Northern Uganda experienced the civil war for over 20 years. And at the moment, we are recovering with a lot of also hosting refugees in the region. Also, LRA conflict ended in 2007. That is Lord Resistance Army conflict with the government of Uganda. And then Oyam, where FICH is located, was the home of 23 IDP camps. So during the insurgencies. So at the moment, it's very safe, and people are recovering as well. So the good thing also in the region is that there's a very unique culture and have so many languages in the region. So where I'm from is Lao sub-region, it speaks one language. Where Innocent is coming from the northwest, speak different languages. There's Madi, there is Lugwara, there is also another region which is Karamoja, another region which is actually sovereign. So those are different languages. But also another thing from there, which is make it so unique, Northern Uganda is hosting refugees coming from Southern Sudan and also from DRC Congo. So it makes Northern Uganda unique in culture, but also in languages. Just to go through quickly, you can see Uganda is also very beautiful. It has all the natures, and we have like the big 5 animals, which actually, if you want to come and experience some kind of a unique nature, you can just buy a ticket and fly to Uganda. You'll see like the animal, this giraffe. You can see the land, and it's very flat as well. So the means of transport basically is the public and use this kind of truck to do businesses for those who goes to the market and then also go for other functions. So this is very typical kind of means. So this is a typical house for a local Ugandans, especially in Northern Uganda. So women that we work with them, they basically, most of them, they're in rural places, and these are the kind of art that they live in. So like when we are conducting trainings and programs for the rural people, we basically do it under the mango tree or under the tree based in the communities. And then this is like kind of a school setting, primary school setting. So it's very interesting that we learn a lot from the condition that they study under. Some of these are the small enterprises that women are doing in the communities. The bakery, they're making the bread, and then also they're making from soybean, so which is really very interesting product. So this is the typical agricultural product, agricultural farming, especially in the rural place where we work with the women. So this is, we're doing the soya bean. So this is the typical Ugandan, especially in the rural place. That's how they make sure that they clean their agricultural products, like this one, cleaning soy as well. And then these are like kind of trainings, programs. Yep, this is a kind of a young youth interventions to try to bring them together and learn from the communities where we stay, but also where we work. This one here, I just wanted to show this one. This is Ellie. Chris knows Ellie very well. Ellie was formerly a Peace Corps volunteer. And at the moment, she's the one who introduced us to TCP Global. We are very excited for her. And that's why we always keep, sharing our story with the rest of the world. So she's really catching up and carrying the baby behind. This is the typical African culture of carrying the baby. You saw from the first slide I shared with you. This is people working with, this is like FICH staff that we work, and we are in for the meeting as well. Now, I just wanted to take us through quickly about our story, about FICH story. So FICH as an organization is a community-based organization based here in Uyam district, Northern Uganda. So we founded in 2010. We started something like an idea of doing something in 2010. And then we fully registered in 2016 with the authorities. And then our program basically focused on women and young people, especially to empower them. And today I will basically just focus on women in this particular program, which is in partnership with TCP Global. So I'm beginning with the key economic challenges women face, especially where FICH works and where the women that we work directly with TCP Global face. The first one is access to resources. So these women have the limited access to resources. When we talk about this, we talk about business capital. It's a challenge for them to access capital for starting or improving their businesses. Also, they have low skills for labor, like skills labor. So it's very low because they're from rural communities. There is also that kind of entrepreneurship ability, which is a little bit challenging for them because they're not living mostly in a very big towns. So the issue around entrepreneurship is a challenge. So it makes their businesses become very challenging when they're operating. And then on the other issue is the leadership capacity, but here I'm focusing more on the group leadership and also individual leadership at their personal levels. So there are issues around group dynamic where in the group, sometimes if you don't mentor them well, they can easily fail because of the issues around the group. And then the capacity to address challenges as individuals. So that's why sometimes they keep remaining poor because their capacity to address some of the personal challenges and also the family challenges are huge. So those are the few challenges. And then also on the other side, the business and financial literacy is a huge issue. And here we're talking about they have limited access to markets for some of the products due to some issues of quality and then also lack of information. Record keeping is an issue. And then also those one like productivity. Some of them, they're based in the communities where people are not so much focused because of lack of information. So it makes some of their time redundant. So they don't produce the time very well. So these are some key extract of the economic challenges. That's why they're facing these issues of low income in the household. So I just wanted to take you through quickly about a story. This is a young lady that worked with us. So we always say everything starts with a woman. I think when I say this, all of us are aware of it. So this is a child mother. She has a clothing designing dream. So she wants to really have the skills of designing so that she can earn. At the moment, she's part of the TCP Global. Our challenge at the moment, before joining the program, the monthly income is basically only 20,000 Uganda shillings, which is roughly about $5 per month. And then also she has a very high responsibility at the family level. And then that she also have low level of education and skills to operate and do other few things. And then also there are very few employment opportunities for them in the communities. So this is a child mother in the community where we work and the dream, and this is how she lives. But she is enrolled into the program. Now, what is the solutions for her as we look through? So we thought and we think that it is key for this young mother to access capital to boost her business. Another one is to provide support supervision to her business so that she can do well in the business as well. And then also to guide their VSLA groups on credit and saving activities. So if we continue doing this, then she will definitely become well in her business. And then also linkage to the market and then the information as well. So for us to make this young lady prosper well in her business, these are the solutions that we want to do. So we are very privileged that TCP Global came in at the right time where we could provide the solutions to this young girl and the similar girls as well in the community where we're working. Now, I just wanted to go quickly about the partnership between FICH and then TCP Global. Now, FICH signed agreement, first of all, in November with the TCP Global 2020. And then currently we are working with the two groups, two women groups. Each group received 1,500 US dollars. And then also microloans, we disbursed the loans to the groups in February. You might ask the reason why the money, we signed agreement in November 2020, and then we disbursed the money again in 2021 and in Feb. So there was issues around there. The reason why we did that, it was because, first of all, during the end of the year, in most cases in Uganda and in rural places, once people receive money, they use the money for festive season, celebration of festive season. So we got the advice from the women themselves that let's postpone the disbursement of the money, of the loan to them in January, so that at least they can use the money for the right cause. So that was the advice from them in December. And then also the issues of politics came up. So we disbursed the money in February 2021 because of the political activities that we had in Uganda. It was a little bit chaotic and people were not sure about what's going to happen after the election or during the election. So women and local leaders were a little bit nervous, including ourselves, because of the sign of the violence that we saw in the process. So that's why we pushed the disbursement of the money up to Feb based on the consensus agreement with the women and also the local leaders. So I just wanted to take us through about the selection and criteria to the program for these women who went through the program. First of all, we looked at the women group, and then also we look at those one who have the VSLA activities within the group, and then those ones working with FICH for not less than 3 months, so that we are able to guide them, because for those one who have gone through 3 months and above, at least we are sure that they understand what they're doing. So we always keep working with them. And then also, we work with the groups that receive the VSLA or microloan trainings. It can be provided by FICH program or by ourselves, our program team. And then also we give this support to those members who are in small businesses as well. The group members should be having some small businesses as well, so that they can inject the money into those businesses. And then also we need the recommendation from the local council one, so that at least some of the women who have difficulties in managing the resources, the funds, the local council one where they stay can keep supporting them with encouragement. But also there are some issues that affect the women who are doing the business. And this LC1 also helps to guide and support the spouses so that they can make the woman become a little, engaged. Okay. And then group, we also work with the group and individuals. We want the individual and group consent so that we can use the photos for our purposes. So we also accept those photos, the consent from them at the beginning. So on the screen, you will see the pictorial successes. This is when we are giving the women money from TCP Global. This was the first day where the women wanted to borrow loan from the group. And then we handed the money to the women group so that they can manage and go successfully. So you can see how they're smiling when they were receiving the fund. On your left, that is myself, and then Candy, who is our M&E, to help and support the women with the fund. And then on the screen, you will see the savings and credit activities. This is the pictures where the women were engaging into the saving activities, but also it's the day that they always receive the loans from the group, but also it's the day they also return the money to the group so that they can be given to another woman. So those are the things, activities that happened. So on the screen here, you'll see some people actually digging using the Hawks plow. So most of the women, because they stay in the communities and the villages where people do a lot of economic activities, especially farming. So some women get loan from the group to ensure that they buy oxfloor and others oxens so that they can use that as a business. Because here people do a lot of farming. So these women get the money as a loan and they go and dig for this. So the typical woman who is in this kind of business, they can get the money, like for example, Jane here borrowed 500,000 Uganda shillings and bought with the Hawks Pro. So she returned in only a month because she made the business, she dug for people, and then she was paid over 500,000. So she was able to pay a loan within a month, and yet she was supposed to pay like in 4 months. So it means that it is very viable, and she was able to do it because that is our skills, and she was able to access some of this. So it was very good, and we have a very success story on that. On the next page here, you'll see Jane, who is part of the group members, and she borrows the money to do tailoring business. She does tailoring, but also she trained other youth and young girls as well in the communities. So if you see the pictures, these are from your left-hand side, top, that is Jane. She's on her business. She got a loan and bought with a sewing machine to add more so that these people can be trained and she can absorb as much as possible trainees. So we are very happy that at least she's progressing very successfully. I just wanted to go quickly on the challenges and barriers that we are getting as a program. So like I said earlier, there has been delay in releasing funds to groups due to political activities in Uganda and uncertainty of COVID-19 in December 2012, 2021. But also I talked about the program officer also got an accident and it slows down the activities a little bit and also reporting on some of the activities. So that is the challenge also we went through. And then also the high transportation cost due to COVID-19, because the guidelines of COVID-19 is that people should be reduced when they're going with the public means. So some women are affected with that. So you realize that the businesses, if we're supposed to get a higher profit, because of the transport fare, which is high, they get a less one. So those are the challenges that the women also getting. And then also drop in prices of commodities, because most of the women deal in also produce, small produce in the communities. So at the moment, there's a drop down in terms of prices. Of recently, because the bigger market for some of our produce is Kenya. Kenya had some issues with our products in Uganda. So at the moment, there's no much produce which is being sent to Kenya and to other markets. So there's that kind of there's that kind of drop in some of the prices. So it makes a little challenging for some women who are dealing in that directly. And then also there is an overwhelming request for this microloan program in the community and also with other women groups. So this is something really challenging. Every day, we always register number of local leaders and also community members coming to our office requesting that we should be able to extend the program to other women because there are women who are really motivated and they can do much well, except they are lacking access to finances. There's some other there's other financial service providers like the banks and micro financial institutions, but if you look at their rates, a little bit high. So it becomes challenging for them to access that. And also they need the collateral. So it's quite a little challenging. So we are having that overwhelming request from the communities as well. And then the lesson learned so far in the process, of course, like I said earlier, there has been great lessons in this period of time. We realized that fund from TCP Global is considered a huge opportunity to boost women's businesses, which was starving due to limited capital to invest in. And then also frequent visit to groups and then individual businesses has increased more confidence to members and also businesses. Hence, women are inspired and motivated. So with our team members visiting the groups every single time and then also visiting the businesses, they have been very excited. And also they realize that it is important for the groups to meet on a weekly basis and they're requesting us to continue also go and meet them on a weekly basis to guide them. But also the most interesting thing in this particular case, we realize that most of the groups, they get some of the business tips because they are doing business individually. They are getting business tips from their colleagues because of that weekly meetings. And then also they're taking advantage because some of them, they're local leaders in their communities. They're using some of the social issues to pass the information in the group meetings, like for example, on health issues, which is really interesting things that we discovered as a nation as well. And then also the women use the social fund that they collect during their meetings to solve some of the community problems. For example, one of the groups, they agreed that once a woman is pregnant within the group and is going to get, is going for labor, is going for delivery, the group agreed to pick some small resources to support that. And it happened once. So it's really very interesting that with this kind of oh, sorry. Sorry. I was just finishing my presentation as well, but internet went through, sorry. Let me just complete the small slide left, only one slide left, and then we can end up this presentation. Yeah. So I just wanted to quickly talk about the conclusion and recommendation for this intervention so far. So there's, like I said earlier, they're trying to say that we should continue visit and monitor the groups so that we can keep creating awareness and then kind of behavioral change is experienced, like what is experienced at this time. So that we can keep also providing some other areas like training on record keeping, marketing, costing, and then handle some of the issues of GVV, which is also present in the community as well. So those are the things that they requested, and then also training in business and entrepreneurship, they requested that, and we as organization are really working hard to ensure that we provide individual member of the group with these skills as well. And then also most women in small in small businesses also lack like this record keeping, the budgeting, among others. So those are the things that really I wanted to pass through. I will share this screen to Chris, and then definitely can be circulated to everybody. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening to this presentation.
Thank you so much, Emmy. That was exciting. That is really interesting, and I enjoyed seeing the women at work and appreciated, hearing how you have systematically worked through and some of the challenges that you have raised, which are the challenges that we've had, particularly the challenge of expanding the program to other women. And I was in Uganda in Rakai and Masaka districts, did some work there. Wow. And when something looks good, everybody wants to be part of it. So when you see people admiring, that means you're doing a good job, and I really appreciate that. The other thing that you mentioned that I haven't thought about, that is actually very important for us as a group, and Chris, we may want to talk about that, is getting consent for pictures. I know, and community, we violated that, especially when it comes to human subjects and just dealing with people. We want to make sure we want to get that consent, and I don't know how we want to do that, and probably with the TCP Global, we want to start having some best practices so that at least we try to make an effort to get the group consent or individual consent so that we can freely use those pictures down the road. So thank you for raising that up. So I'll open this to questions. Any questions from the group? Just unmute yourself and ask or put your hand. Go ahead, Edward.
Thank you. Thank you, Emmy, for this very informative presentation. as I said, we always learning something new from each presentation given each week. So I just have a few questions, but probably I will start with a comment on the consent for photos, because I know that being from Africa myself, when when people see a camera, they start wondering where you're going to take that photo, and they think you might be selling, you might be earning something with the photo. So my advice here is to, since you're working with those groups and you understand each other, this personal connection with them could help you to know exactly that what are you going to do with the photos. Not just showing up. Not just showing up and take photos. You tell them that you want to inform the donors or people who are supporting you to show the pictures, because sometimes pictures tell more than just with written words. So just to see, and I've never had any problem with that. But if I go to a new community, I feel people are fearing when they see a camera or when you try to take a photo. So it's just this, to build a long-term connection with the people and understanding you and know that there's a transparency with what you do and what they are receiving. They don't have any problem. But I'm telling you, some places in Africa, you show a camera, you get some angry faces. So I'm jumping to questions. This is one of the presentation I had, the social fund, because I've never had it in so many other presentations, and this is very interesting and exciting, because I would want to hear how they get that, and they probably tie it with the interest. If these ladies are charged the interest, please, if you can break it down a bit to show us how you charge the interest and how the social fund is being decided from the loan, because it would inform us a lot on how the program lands. That's just the question I had. Otherwise, your presentation and your group, it's very exciting and wonderful.
Thank you very much. Hebi, should I answer or I wait for more?
Yeah, go ahead and answer as they come in. I think that will
thank
be
you so
helpful.
much, Edward, for the comments and encouragement that you just provided. Just to talk about the interest rate. The interest rate, we together as the group agreed together on how much they can pay. And so far at this time, they agreed that the loan period for the repayment is 4 months. And in 4 months, they set up the interest rate of 12%. So it means that each month they are paying 3% on the principal that they have requested. So for the entire total period, the loan period is 12%, breaking into 3% per month. That is for 4 months. And then on the social funds, as they meet on a weekly basis, they always collect some additional money. It's not part of the saving that they get. It's not part of the saving that they always put, or it's not part of the loan, but they pick it from their own personal savings to put it as a welfare. So that is just to help them meet some of the challenges that comes across the community, but also within themselves. So it's very interesting that they're also building that relationship, not only among themselves as group, but also with the community where they live, so that they can have that kind of a good relationship with the others and they can contribute to the community development. Yeah.
Thank you. That's understandable. I get it now.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you to both of you. Okay, Chris and Imali, who wants to go? Chris?
I was delighted to hear that you use the social fund for transportation of the pregnant mother for birthing. I was surprised and dismayed to read in the survey of Uganda the fourth major cause of deaths, maybe it's infant and child deaths in Uganda, was the death of the mother in delivering the child. So an easy solution is to arrange a social fund so that there is transportation of the mother to the health center or the hospital for birthing. When the mother births at home, then there's far higher risk. My question, so that was terrific that you're doing that. My question is, given that you're having so many demands, how much can FICH support in growth of TCP Global programs? How many groups can you bring on? Additional groups can you bring on per month?
Yeah, thank you so much, Chris, for that comment and also for the question. So far at the moment, we've prepared 8 groups for TCB for this period of time, for this quarter, but we can bring as much as 50 more groups, because at this time we're working with the groups who are the farmers in the rural communities as well. And all of them, they're practicing village savings using their own personal savings. So we can bring as more as 50 groups so far at this time.
And how many groups can you handle?
We can handle all of them, because even at the moment, we are working with more than 50 groups at the moment, but it will depend on how we could, because we are also learning in the process. So we wanted to go slow with the TCB fund so that we can keep learning, because we don't want to go at all of them at once, because if something happened, then we fail everything. So for this quarter, we can handle 10 as we keep learning from them. And then after this quarter, we can get the lesson learned from that process, and then we can add additional after that. So that is basically what I can say. This quarter, it means within the 4 months, in the next 4 months, we can handle like 10 as we keep learning from that process. Then we can keep adding after that, based on the lessons we are learning in interacting and engaging these young women.
Great. I'll follow up with you. Go ahead.
Hey, Imali, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to actually applaud Emmy for the beautiful presentation he just gave us. And it actually really warmed my heart. I liked the idea of just beginning with the story of a woman. She has a dream, and having that dream, she follows the dream to actually be able to achieve the end that she has. So I really loved what you gave us and how you broke down the different parts of your presentation. Now, and I was also kind of surprised to see that women, not that I should, that women are actually buying the farming equipment to do the job that they are doing, which in some of the places like in Kenya, I've seen men being the ones that do that particular work. So it's kind of interesting and nice to see that women are venturing into that. The only question that probably I had has to do with the repayment part. I know in some of the groups we saw, I think it's the community group and maybe other groups too, where the time frame of 6 months seemed to be challenging, but I guess maybe for your particular project, the 4-month duration seems to be workable. So I'm just kind of curious how that seems to be working for the Ugandan team, whereas in other groups, maybe 6 months becomes challenging.
Yeah, thank you so much, Imali, and for that encouragement words, very encouraging, thank you. So, like I said earlier, we did not decide the loan repayment period, but we engaged all of them first before giving them the fund. And then we agreed together, because they always receive the funds from the VSLA, and their VSLA principal was 3 months for them to repay back. But then for this one here, they said they can pay within 4 months as they begin the process. And of course, what they do is to continue supporting each other. So what I've learned of recent from one of the groups, because their first loan repayment was this month, early this month. Then what they did, there was one woman who the child got an accident and was taken to the hospital, but she had the loan. So what happened is that at the meeting day, some of the women paid for her. And then she came back from the hospital, and then she was able to pay the women, those one who picked the money for her. So we realized that there's a lot of collaborations among themselves. So the most important thing, like for you to have and experience that kind of stuff, you need to have group dynamic well at the beginning. Because if you have them together, you address some of the issues of the group at the beginning of them getting the funds, then they will be at the same page. And then also you give them the opportunity to decide on what they can do as a group, so that we as organization or you don't intervene a lot. So they brainstorm on the solutions by themselves, and they are the one who actually act on those challenges that comes within the group. So our work was just to guide the group and give them the encouragement. And of course, I think because the more they get from their businesses, the more money they earn as individual and solve their own household problems. So that is something we have so far experienced, and we are yet to learn more as we go forward with this kind of intervention with the women.
I like that kind of empowerment, Emmy. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you.
And now next, Emmy, again, fantastic presentation, like I said earlier. And just going back to expand on some of the questions and issues that came up. What was the average? And I may have missed it if you said, how much did the women get the same amount, or were they varying, and what depend on the kind of income generating activity they were engaged in? Or how did that work? What were the range, or was it the same amount?
Yes, so they did not get the same amount. They got the different amount of money based on individual interest, but also on their businesses. And then the group decide yes, because it's not the first time for them to get the loan from the group. So the group leaders and group members knows who is getting the amount of money and what kind of business the person does. So it's not the same amount of money, it's varying, but on the average, I have not converted in US dollars, but in Uganda shillings on average is 600,000, which is roughly around 100 and should be about 150 US dollars on average. So that is varying from one person to another. And they decide on their meeting days. The good thing is that when they returned the loans, because like for the beginning, one group gave to 9 members, and yet in the group there are like about 30 members. So in the first repayment, other group also again received that money all. So you realize that all of them, they're happy, but depend on each, because some of them even they get like as low as $10, as $20 or $30. So it depends on the interest and the kind of business. And we also encourage them not to just take the loan because your friend is taking. Take because you want to do the business and your business is viable for worth the amount of money you're requesting. And they get the mutual understanding among themselves.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think that is a very important point for our groups, all of us here. It's not that all women, because community in Kenya, everybody want to get the same amount. They feel almost like they're being cheated out if they don't get the same amount. But I think the message we need to be sending to our groups is exactly what you're saying, that you need to be able to borrow what you're able to pay back. And also you need to be able to borrow based on the activity that you're engaged in, as opposed to just taking because you can take 100, you need to take 100. Because if you're familiar with the initial Grameen Bank is where this whole idea of came from. And that program ended up being criticized down the road because women were pressured to pay. So instead of you putting the money to work, they're holding on to it so that they can be able to pay. And we don't want that. We want that money to work, as opposed to, oh my God, I gotta have it in 2 weeks to pay back. Then that really defeats the purpose of what we are trying to do. So I appreciate that explanation. And for all of us, as we move forward with the projects, we need to make sure that we are communicating to women that yes, this is a grant to your group, and you need to take care of that grant money for your group. You pay back in, and also try to support each other. And I like that level of support and the collaboration and the encouragement that your women have. So that is fantastic.
Thank you.
Any other questions from anyone else or any closing? We've gone over our time allotted. So if we don't have any other comments, Amy, do you have any closing overall comments or anything else before I switch back this? Do you have anything else you want to leave with us?
I forgot to mention one thing. I think the reason why we somehow succeeding at this early stage is that on the first day, we first oriented them, and then also we involved the local leaders where they belong, where they are. So that they are able also to listen and provide more guidance, because we have the government programs and these local leaders always encourage them that once you succeed on this, you can be the first priority for the government program that is coming for you to succeed. So I think that one also played a huge role in terms of their motivations and inspiration on this particular program. So involvement of the local leaders in every single process, that really played a huge role at this time. Yeah. Thank you very much.